Hello everyone, and welcome to another Digimon stream where we look at the manual. Excuse me. Had some ice cream earlier. It's really hot out there, people. Remember to drink water and the like, because it's hot. As all of you know, my name is Walter. This is another Botluck production stream where we look at the Digimon manual. Continuing on with the champions. That's my phone. As you all know, the rules towards this, when I look at a Digimon, I read the description. I then say what I like about the design, what I dislike about the design, and what I would change with it. When I say what I like and dislike, it can't be vague and all, oh, I don't like this, and it doesn't feel like a Digimon. No, I have to give a concrete explanation, a concrete reason why I like or dislike the Digimon. On the subject of armored Digivolutions, that will be a separate set of streams because, going off of the manual, those are not champions, weirdly enough. Other than that, I don't have much in the way of a lot of... other than that, I don't really have a lot of news to discuss. The Kickstarter that my friend ran succeeded, which is good. Other than that, slowly working on the review. My plan is after this to start editing of that review, which will be the Digimon Discotheque release. Other than that, I don't really have much in the way of news. One thing I may be planning on doing is to do more of other streams if, say, things pick up. And as always, if we reach 500 subscribers, I will look into opening a Discord for the channel. As of late, though, we are currently at 397, which is a good amount. Hopefully that will pick up. Remember to like and subscribe and share this. So, and another one of the rules, after I talk about a Digimon, I give about a 20 to 30 second break just to get you guys' opinion and to let my throat rest a bit. If you remember, this is an audience participation stream, so if there's a comment that you'd like to say or a question, you're more than willing to say what you'd like to say. And with that, we're going to be going on to the next Digimon, Botluck. Huckmon went through strict training, refining an unparalleled combat sense and achieving mental, technical, and physical strength in this form. Botluck continues to train while aiming for greater heights, accumulating combat experience through battles against strong foes. This combat expert evolves the more it fights. Botluck's desire to become royal knights has only increased as it has grown. It will not allow others to determine its best course of action, believing it should observe and decide on an approach for itself. All of Botluck's special moves have been strengthened. It uses Fifth Cross to cleave with its claws, Teen Blade to spin its tail blade on its axis before charging the enemy, and Blazing Flame to counter the foe with dramatically boosted strength. It also uses Dragless Spiker to bisect its opponent with the sharp blades on both legs. So, we have the champion of Huckmon, and not much has really changed. Botluck has become a larger Digimon compared to its rookie form, which shows some growth. We have an idea of the hood, which has gone from just a generic hood to kind of indicating with spikes. Things I like about the design, I like that you see a clear lineage between Botluck and Huckmon, which is neat. What I don't like about the design, I kind of feel they could have done a little more to change it. Possibly add more armor. Not a big fan of the spike legs. That's a design element that I don't like. It just kind of feels off. Then again, we are dealing with artwork that's a bit finicky. Excuse me. That ice cream's coming up. That's something we've seen with a lot of Digimon. Sometimes the design is good, it's just we're dealing with pretty bad artwork. Randomon X Antibody is a good example of that. Other than that, it's a very spiky Digimon. If I were to change this Digimon, I would probably omit the hood. Keep the cloak. Keep the cloak as is, but I would omit the hood. Because I think at this point, you should be emphasizing more of it's becoming more and more heroic and doesn't need to hide behind a hood or something. It's still in its Robin phase. It hasn't reached Nightwing elements yet, but it isn't fully ready. Other than that, it's a pretty neat design. I'm not going to say it's a perfect, because I do think they need to do a little more to make this different from Huckmon. So there is that. So to recap, what I like about the design, I like that it is a lineage going from Huckmon to Bao Huckmon. What I don't like is the spike legs, as I'm not a big fan of that design element, especially given the hands. This makes it almost like a quadruped, although I think it's supposed to be a biped. And what I would change is the omission of this hood. Keep the cloak, but omit the hood. And probably also change the spike legs to something more specific, something more foot-like. But that's just me. So we're going to give 30 seconds to rest. And if you're watching, don't forget to comment. I'm right here. I like hearing what you guys say and your observations on these things. And with that, the 30 seconds have passed. We're moving on to the next Digimon. Gamamon. A matured form of Gamamon, its body turned red from the flames of its burning soul. Ooh, fancy. Gamamon is more agile and boosts improved speed and power in close combat. The strength of its attacks multiplies in accordance with the swelling of its emotions. Gamamon uses its special move, Soar Blow, to strike the enemy with flames built up in its fists. Our sword shot to hurl those flames, albeit with reduced strength. So Gamamon has gone from a little tiny Triceratops to a more bipedal form. We have an interesting color coordination with the blue and red, which is interesting. With the cloak, not cloak. Technically it's called a muffler, but they can also be called a scarf. I like that we're kind of playing around with the dinosaur design or dragon design, because in a lot of cases with things like the dinosaur Digimon, you tend to get very generic. Oh, here's Agumon becoming a T-Rex, or here's this Digimon becoming a T-Rex. They actually played a little bit with, it's still a Triceratops, but they went more with a bipedal dragon design. Now, I know there's an evolution, I think it's Canon Gamamon, or Zweiss Canon Gamamon, I'm not particular with the name, it'll probably come up soon, where it's a pretty basic Triceratops with guns that has its own ups and downs. Things I like that they break up the color with the scarf, and that they did experiment with the design of, it's not just a standard Triceratops, it's something a little different. What I don't like, well, for one, I'm not a big fan of this artwork because it's a bit hard to read at times, especially with the hands. If I were to say a thing I don't like, it would probably be the claws on the feet. I would probably shorten them. That's not really much of a thing, but it's there. If I were to change this design, I would probably want to maybe make the shoulders of the design a little beefier to really give the idea of extra strength in addition to the speed. Because with the way how the feet are, you're definitely getting that. With the way how the thighs are, you're definitely getting the feeling of this is a speedy boy. I do think maybe adding a bit more in the chest would help add a little extra strength to that. Overall, it's an acceptable design. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it's a very good design. So to recap, things I like the color cooperation between the blue scarf and the red body. I don't like the claws on the feet, and if I were to change it, I would make the shoulders a bit broader. And with that, 30 seconds. Slow day today. I was kind of expecting more people to be on. I'll try to go an hour with this before I do any ending. I do like interacting with you guys. I like seeing what opinions and thoughts you like to bring in. And with that, we've cut to 30 seconds. Birdramon. A giant bird Digimon wreathed in blazing flames. Like Meramon, Birdramon is a Digimon formed from the internet's defense firewall. Birdramon flies through the sky using its massive wings. Despite not having any warlike qualities, Birdramon will launch a frenzied counterattack in the face of enemy assaults. Bertramon's special move is Meteor Wing, by which it flaps its wings to send feathers shooting down like meteors. So, Bertramon is one of the early Digimon designs. You can usually tell that by seeing what little extra detail elements. I guess the closest word would be greeble. We basically have a firebird, technically a phoenix, although there is a phoenix Digimon. Birdramon. This is interesting. If you ever look at Digimon names and see Dra, that usually means dragon. So this would be Bird Dragon Digimon. Things I like about the design, it's a firebird. You basically have a flaming bird. So it's a little easy. It's not easy to see here, given the art design. Again, this is early Digimon art. But it's a simple concept that works. What I don't like, I think it would be better with... I'm not a big fan of how hard it is to differentiate between the wings and the body, because it looks like pure fire. And I think you could add a little bit to try and... Because right now it looks like a big mass of fire. And I get that's what they're going for. I just kind of would like it if they added some They added some element that differentiates between body parts. Granted, this is the artwork, and as I've said, a lot of Digimon artwork can be a bit hard to read at times. If I were to change this, I would probably want to make some design distinctions between the body and the wings and the parts. Still make it that it's fire, but fire can be different colors. Have maybe a white fire for the chest, maybe blue fire on the tail, different elements of fire. Because fire isn't just orange or red. Fire has different colors based on when it's burning. That's why fireworks have different colors. And I think they missed out on doing that with Birdramon. It's a simple design, and it works. Not necessarily a perfect, in my opinion, but it is a good design. A lot of the early Digimon designs are pretty good. In this case, I think this needs a little bit better art, and maybe some small editing, and it would hit that perfect. But yeah, to recap, I like the concept of a firebird. I don't like that it's a bit hard to differentiate between the different parts, and if I were to change it, I would play with the colors, as if to say, different fires. So with that, we're going to give 30 seconds. So, yeah, it's been a good year for Digimon right now. We have a lot of updates. We have the Shambhala server, which some of the Digimon designs I like, some of them I don't. I am glad they didn't all make them Sun Wukong references and they actually played around with it. It will take me a bit of time to go, do I like these Digimon or not? Some of them are okay, some of them are eh. but I have my own opinions. We'll see how that goes. Black Gaogamon. Black Gaogamon is a beast Digimon with a larger physique than Gaomon's, the claws protected by its gloves having grown nicely. It also must have taken in Black Digitron at some point in its development, causing it to grow into this black form. As a result, it's tougher than the average Gaogamon, being better able to resist damage, although this comes at the cost of speed. Black Gaogamon unleashes its special move Dash Double Claw at close range after approaching at speeds the enemy can't follow, and uses Hound to bite its foes with strong teeth, clamping down until its opponent falls. It also uses Spiral Blow to shoot a powerful vortex-shaped wind from its mouth in one breath. So basically we have not a wolf, it's a dog. You can tell by the tail. There is a specific breed of dog that is famous for this spiral tail. But it's the traditional canine Digimon. Oftentimes the rival in Digimon will have a canine style Digimon. Things I like about the design, it's a dog. This artwork's not helping it, but it's supposed to look like a hound. Things I don't like, I'm not a big fan of these claw elements. I think they're detracting a bit too much from the design. And really, if I were to change this design, I would omit these claws. Now, I understand it's supposed to be stronger, and they're adding in these arms to show that it's a strong animal. But I think there are other things that can be done in order to convey that this is a strong Digimon other than adding extra limbs. I'm okay with the mane. That does help with color. It's not a colorful Digimon, but then again, it's having a lot of black coloring, and black can remove a lot of color from a design. There are times where it works, and there are times when it can be a bit for instance, my eyes in this are drawn to the boxing gloves. Overall, it's an okay design. I'm not a big fan of it, and I think I would have been a bit better. Obviously, it needs a better art, because I think this is a bit difficult to read. But if I were to I really think these arm elements need to be omitted. So, to recap, what I like about it is it's a hound. It's a dog. A bit easy to read. I don't like these arms, and if I were to change it, I would omit these arms from the design. And with that, 30 seconds. We're actually going through these designs pretty fast. No one wants to talk today, or is it just a slow day? I know Tuesdays can be, Well, then again, it could also be 4th of July. I know 4th of July celebrations can oftentimes leave one tired. With that, 30 seconds have passed. Next Digimon we have is Black Gargomon. Black Gargomon is a type of Gargomon that excels in hiding in shadows and ambushing foes. Specializing in hand-to-hand combat, it also uses superior fighting techniques and has a higher degree of combat prowess than Gargomon. It has a remarkably cool personality and is known for finishing its opponents with unnerving strikes. Also, parts of its body have been coated in black Digitron, providing it with increased defensive capabilities. Its special moves include Gatling Arm, which involves firing the Vulcans on both of its wrists, and Dum Dum Uppercut, which is an explosive uppercut attack. Okay, first off, one issue I'm going to say. The description says specializing in hand-to-hand combat. I know we've all seen Gunkata films, where in close combat the guy's using guns all over. You can't say it specializes in close combat and then go, well, he also carries Gatling guns. It's a recolor of Gargomon, which is fine. But if I were to change it going off of the profile, omit these arms and either turn them into maces or into claws, or like swords. to really emphasize this is close combat Gargomon. This, going off of hiding in shadows, I would say go off of a description of Rambo. Maybe make one of the arms a Gatling gun, but the other arm's a knife. To really emphasize that unlike Gargomon, who's going all Second Amendment, this Gargomon is going more Rambo, more silently, and if it needs to go explosive, it goes explosive. As is, it's a recolor, which is all right. Nothing wrong with that. I don't like the idea that they did nothing with the arms. They needed to have changed what this represents. And if I were to change it, I would keep one of the arms Gatling gun, but maybe make the other hand a sword or a knife. It's an okay design. It would have gotten the perfect, except for that description of specializing in hand-to-hand combat. By telling me that, this tells me that this design does not fit. It does not read close combat. This reads Second Amendment. And they need to change that. This doesn't work in my opinion. So, things I like. I do like black as a color at times. And this does remind me of Alphamon a bit. What I don't like is it doesn't read close combat. It really doesn't. And given reading that, I would change it to take inspiration from Rambo. And make it that one of the hands is a Gatling gun and the other is a sword or a blade. To really play... just, again, imagine this design, but instead of this hand right here, you got a blade. Or like a hand holding a knife. I think that would work a lot better. But as is, it doesn't read close combat. So with that, we're going to give 30 seconds. This is why reading the profile, the description really helps. Because it can give us an idea of what a Digimon is and what they're trying to go for. And I'm very glad to the user that suggested that. Really, catching things like that helps. And like if I didn't read that, I'd say, oh, it's a recolor of Gargomon. No. Reading that hand-to-hand combat thing. 30 seconds have passed. We are going through this pretty fast. Black Gatomon. A virus Gatomon with striking pitch black fur. A quintessential child of evil, Black Gatomon wanders through the uncanny darkness. This is an extremely rare mutation of Gatomon with very few thought to exist. Ha! The creature is also malicious and prideful and loves picking on the weak. A dark Digimon that basically digivolves into a dark angel Digimon. Black Gatomon uses the same special moves as Gatomon, Lightning Paw. So quick aside, I do like black cats. I like cats in general, but I especially like cats with black fur. And this is a version of Gatomon I prefer and like. I am a bit sad there is no cat rookie, although that might change in the future, but who knows. I like this design. I like that they made it shown that, yes, this is a dark Digimon. They kept the color palette. I like that element. I like how little mischievous it is. I like black cats, is what I'm saying. Things, again, I like the coloration. What I don't like, I think they could have added a little bit of color to the paws and maybe the stomach. I think I would, or perhaps add something to the tail, because I know Gatomon has a holy ring on the tail. And I think it would be neat if they could add, say, a chain or something to the tail to show that Black Gatomon leads to Lady Devimon. But yeah, otherwise, I like this design. And as much as I want to say it's a perfect design, that's taking in my preconceptions, and I don't want to give favors. So I'm going to say it gets the honorary perfect. It's not perfect in that I'll say, while I like the color, you need to add some color differentiation. Maybe add some more purple, maybe some purple tiger stripes on some areas. Or maybe some little elements of red, like what's on the glove. Otherwise, it's a pretty good design. And yeah, it's one of the Digimon that I like. That and Dorumon. I like cats. So things I like the colors. Things I don't like that it's nothing but black and that they really should add extra color. And what I would change is probably add a ornament to the tail, like maybe say a chain, to add that connection to Lady Devimon. So we're going to go towards 30 seconds. This really is a slow day. What on earth? Let me check something. So you may hear some of my voice because I'm trying to check and see if my audio's... Okay, yeah, so my audio's working. It must just be a slow day. Huh. Wow. Next up, we've got Black Automon Uver. A form taken by Black Automon after absorbing large amounts of home delivery service data that has flowed into the digital world over recent years. Its once malicious personality is gone. Black Automon Uver will deliver packages entrusted to it with dedication, no matter what day it is. It is often spotted clinging to the back of its friend Pistmon to make its deliveries. Whether it contains refrigerated goods, confidential data, or anything else, the delivery bag on Black Automon Uver's back is in tip-top shape at all times. It can only be opened and closed by the Digimon itself. It gives any Digimon that interferes with deliveries a taste of its signature move, Lightning Paw, or eliminates them with bag tags, swinging its delivery bag and striking them with the corner. The contents of the delivery bag remain unscathed, regardless of the massive damage dealt by bag tag. So, we have a Black Automon that basically now works at Amazon. I'm a bit sad that its malicious data has gone away because kind of removes a lot of the personality. But it's an interesting concept, and I'm surprised that they went with Black Automon for this design. For those who don't know, Uber, this isn't necessarily a reference to Uber, but it is a reference to a company in Japan that is known for doing deliveries. Their symbol is a cat holding a kitten to show that they're very careful with their deliveries. So things about this design, we have a Black Automon wearing a jacket and carrying a pack. From the get-go, I don't know why this gets its own evolution. Why this is an evolution and not something, just a random Automon that does deliveries. Which is a bit of an odd thing. I do like that they add it kind of looks like it's tired with doing work design element. And I'm surprised that they made it that they took Black Automon for this. It's interesting that they're referencing a lot of what's going on with Amazon these days. What I would change with it, I would probably... I guess if I were to change this design, I would probably maybe add some high visibility onto the jacket for safety. What I don't like about the design is really, why is this a Digimon? It just feels like a Gatomon character that's doing day work. Like that one character from Gumball, whose name eludes me. Not Benson. Hold on. is that character's name? Larry. It just kind of feels like a Black Godamon that's basically the equivalent of Larry. And I don't know if that's worthy of a design. So, from the get-go, I like that they're referencing how things are going on with the world with things like Amazon. I kind of would change to add that it has some high visibility design elements to it. And what I don't like is this is basically just a Godumon wearing a jacket and bag. And that doesn't I don't think that's worthy enough to say it's a Digimon. Not a variant. I think as a character it works, but as a design, no. So, 30 seconds. This is a slow day today. Uh, I'm gonna give one more Digimon before ending the stream because I like interacting with you guys, and it's a bit disheartening to see no interactions. And now we have Black Growlmon, a dark dragon Digimon known as the Jet Black Dark Dragon. Basically the same species as Growlmon. Black Growlmon has a stronger virus-type disposition and is said to be Growlmon's original form. Unlike a Growlmon raised by a tamer, it should be considered almost entirely feral. Just like Growlmon, its roar is mighty enough to shake the ground, and Black Growlmon uses it as an aggressive display to intimidate the enemy before battle. It uses its signature move, Plasma Blade, to generate plasma with its forearm blades and attack the enemy. With its special move, Exhaust Flame, Black Growlmon can unleash a powerful blast of fire with an explosive roar. So basically we have a recolor of Growlmon. Although in this case it's supposed to say this is the original form of Black Growlmon, but saying, without a tamer it's just feral. So in many ways it's a lot like hogs. For those who don't know, if pigs go wild, they tend to revert back to a feral form. I don't know of any other animals that do that, but it's one of the reasons why you want to be careful with pigs. Because if they're left in the wild, they tend to go back to feral. Which is weird. Or supposedly. Things I like about the design, I do like the mix of colors. Red, gold, white. I like that the chest, given that the red almost looks like it has a skull, to say, hey, be careful with this. Although you also see the digital hazard symbol on the shoulders. And I think to an extent on the arms, although that could be the wrong symbol. We got Digicode, which I don't know what this Digicode says. Things I don't like. I would have added a little extra color. Maybe some more red stripes to really add color. Add some breakup to the black coloring. Things I would change. I would add extra red stripes. Overall, it's an okay design, but I think I prefer the original Growlmon. I know this is supposed to be the original Growlmon, but I think I would go with the standard red Growlmon. So, things I like the colors. Things I don't like, I like that there's not a lot of breakup of the black. And if I were to change it, I would probably add more red stripes to the design. So, we go back to 30 seconds. But yeah, this is a slow day today. Huh. I think we'll end on Blade Kuwagamon. So, Blade Kuwagamon. An insect-type machine Digimon whose entire body has been weaponized. Blade Kuwagamon is a rare champion species of Digimon in that its entire body is covered in chrome Digizoid. It tends to react indiscriminately to anything that moves. Even Mega Digimon have been known to have their entire bodies pierced by a group of Blade Kuwagamon, annihilating them. It uses a special move, Spark Blade, to pierce with the Blade of Light, or all air knife to generate a vacuum wave. So basically we have a blade beetle, a sword beetle. I don't like it. It looks like the type of knife that I would get at a gun show or from a swap meet. This is not a Digimon. This is just a collectible weapon. I guess what I'll say what I like about it is it looks like a sword. What I don't like is it's just a sword. This doesn't look like a Digimon. If I were to change this, what I would do first off is add some eyes or something to the side to say, hey, this is a living thing. And what I would also do is, with these electrical elements, make them work like an actual, like limbs. Like it's moving around with the electricity. But as is, this is just a sword. And I don't like that design element. It looks like those terrible fantasy swords at every swap meet and gun show that are like $20 that you can wall hang them. Don't ever fight with them. This is a no. This is not a design you need to go for. This is something you want to absolutely avoid. So things I like, it looks like a sword. Things I don't like, everything. Everything about this design I dislike. And if I were to change it, you'd have to do an entire rework on this. You have to make it look like a Digimon. You have to make it look like a living thing. This does not look like a living thing. This is an item in an RPG. And they didn't even bother to try and make this thing work. This is an example of what you want to avoid with a design. As an item, it works. As a Digimon, no. This is not a Digimon. This is just an RPG item. 30 seconds. If you're wondering why I keep looking to the side, it's because I have a second monitor here, and I try to see if there's anyone on the chat log. Which, not a lot of people today. Maybe I need to go back to advertising, because it's slow. So, with that, we're going to end on Blade Kuwagamon, because it seems like a slow day today, and as much as I like to hear myself talk, I like to hear what you guys have to say about these designs. So we're going to end there. I think probably I'm going to go back to having these run at 5:30 instead of 5:15, because I think this starts at a pretty meh time. Again, for news, if we hit 500 subscribers, I'll look into opening a Discord for the channel. The review of the Digimon Discotheque movie is going to start editing soon, so I'm going to start it up, and hopefully we'll see it released either this month or next month. Probably next month, but we'll see. And again, within 2 weeks, we'll do another Digimon manual. Yeah, we're kind of coming towards an end, I hate to say. This is one of those things of, like I said, I like interacting with you guys, and I don't like just hearing my voice. I like to see what you have to say about Digimon designs. So, looking at the time, next time we do this, I'll be starting again at 5:30 instead of 5:15, because I think 5:15 may be a bit too early. And hopefully we'll be able to get through all the B's, start the C's, because I really want to see Darkmon, because it's an interesting take on a saint. and we will slowly go from there. Again, like and subscribe, share around. Hopefully we will get hopefully the review of the Digimon Discotheque movie will come out soon. And with that, see you all then. Bye. Wow. This was a slow day.